Hello, my good viewers at Google TV, again with Nafuna Peace in our program, The Hidden Treasure in Agriculture. I just want to welcome you back from the 2018 and say Happy New Year 2019. And I want to say we had a lot of shows in 2018 concerning agriculture, and I want to promise you a number of them in 2019, a number of shows concerning agriculture in different categories, and I want to promise you that expect to learn and also to put in action what you love learned, and then you'll make money out of agriculture that you'll never even regret. So today's topic, we are just in Tinda at Minister's Village, and we are going to be looking at urban farming or backyard farming, and specifically greenhouses, and we shall specify on tomatoes in greenhouses. So keep it locked on Google TV as we take you through the show. We love you. Yes, we are back. As I say, that we are going to be taking you through urban farming today, or backyard farming, in specifically the greenhouses, how you do farming. Many people are saying that they cannot make money in the city in agriculture, but they have no land. But I want to tell you that through today's program, you'll have land and you'll make money out of the small part of land you have in your compound. So together with me, let's move to the expert of today that is going to be taking us through today's topic, and we shall get to learn more. Thank you so much. Hello, my name is Peace, and your name?
My name is Kezala Eric Damba.
Okay.
Yes.
Who do you work as in this place?
I work as the technician, or I am the director of Damba Kezala Enterprises.
Okay.
And we are the ones who are in charge of setting up this whole structure in your backyard, the greenhouse. Set it up, look after it. We give you the money after that.
Okay. Yeah. So what we are looking at today, like I told the viewers, that we are going to look at urban farming. You know, many people are saying, I would do agriculture, but I don't have land. But then we see people could make money maybe even at their home places, in a small piece of land they have, or in the courtyard still. Is that possible?
Very possible, very possible.
Okay.
Because, for example, this greenhouse, it is just a 5 by 4 meters greenhouse. Very small. Anybody can put it in there, even a corridor. You know, you just put in it. It will have about 200 tomatoes. You know, those are plants. Each tomato will give you about 30 tomatoes, the fruits. And each tomato, maybe you sell it at 100. So you're already talking about 2 million already in just a 5 by 4 meter. Yeah.
Okay, so today we are looking, let's first look at the greenhouses before we drive to farming. The specific crop of today, that is tomatoes, a fruit.
Okay.
Is it a fruit or a crop?
It is a fruit.
Okay. Before we look at the fruit of today, the tomato, what is a greenhouse?
Now, a greenhouse is basically growing crops under a controlled environment. By environment, I mean light and temperature. Of course, they come from the Western culture. Here in Uganda, what we can design is simply a structure which is able to regulate our temperature, and more so, the very, very hostile temperatures, sometimes even the very high storms, you know, a lot of things which vary because of the temperature or even the climate. So growing in a greenhouse is basically growing under controlled environmental conditions. And that one can happen anywhere in Uganda.
It doesn't matter where you are.
No, it doesn't matter. But in case, there are some very hot parts of the country that I wouldn't recommend, parts like Karamoja, Moroto, very hot.
You don't recommend the greenhouses?
I wouldn't recommend them unless there's a sort of a shade. Because what a greenhouse does is to make sure that the temperature inside it is a little bit higher than the outside. Now, if the outside is very high or it's very hot, that means inside will be much, much more hotter, and the crops may not survive because of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have explained to us what a greenhouse is, and a little more light on that with what urban farming is to people out there. Because so you say urban farming, and people say urban farming is farming done in the city, or?
Okay. Now, urban farming, those are two words, definitely. Now, being in an urban setting is simply means being in a condition where you're working so much, you're spending so much, working a lot, and you have little time for your own self. Now, farming is, of course, growing crops and animals. Now, when it gets to urban farming, you need to make sure that you incorporate your little time, your high expenses, and definitely even your space. So in urban farming, we make sure that you're growing things to reduce on your costs. every day you're eating something.
Yes.
So you can go eat in your backyard and you save that money.
So,
Then another day, you don't have time. So you need to grow something which minimizes your time or your exposure in the garden. And definitely you need to grow something which is attractive anyway.
okay.
So you cannot put things which smell bad, in your backyard. You need to put something which is also a little bit attractive, which is good. So the whole concept of urban farming is to make your own money in your backyard conveniently and at the least expectations of capital.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had people say that with the issue of urban farming, the few I talk to as my friends, they say the issue of introducing urban farming is that you farmers are trying to push away the issue of having flowers in the compound and whatever.
Well, you can replace edible crops with flowers.
Okay.
I mean, a tomato can look so nice, and then you harvest it the other day.
As a flower.
Yeah, a cabbage can look so nice.
Okay.
Yes, you can even put spices, rosemary, strawberries. They look nice. They are flowers to maybe the wife in the home, but they are food to the children. So you can have flowers, but you can also have edible flowers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So today, like I told the viewers, that we're looking at a greenhouse, and specifically we'll look at a greenhouse. Before we drive into the main fruit or crop of today, whatever it is, can we look at, can I ask you something, that if someone doesn't have a greenhouse, can that person have a farm or like a small farm in the yard?
Yeah, definitely. We can set for you buckets, little buckets, or you can even collect them yourself. Yeah, what you need is the knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah, you plant the right seed, make sure you look after it properly, then you position it in the right place. We all know crops need sunlight.
Yeah.
So don't get your crops and put them in the sitting room. They won't grow. So as long as you can have some space, they get some sunlight, you can water them, you can grow anything that you want.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow, that's so great. Thank you so much. So we're back to the point of the greenhouse. How much does someone need to make the smallest meter? Is it meters of a greenhouse? How much can someone put in?
Yeah, it's not costly. Anyway, at a greenhouse of about 5 meters by 4,
Is that the smallest?
yeah, the smallest, which can bring in some money.
Okay.
Yeah, we can have a smaller one, but it may not give you enough money.
Okay.
Yeah, so that one may go at about 2.3, but that 2.3 covers the material, the construction, the tomatoes, follow-up, and even marketing for you. So, to some point, you can say, no, with this 2.3, I may not afford it. So please just do for me a simpler budget so we can maybe construct for you something. Then you grow it yourself with our supervision. But most cases, we recommend that, we give you a full package, especially for the first season. Yeah, then when you want to start to set up a second greenhouse, yeah, then you can reduce on some of those costs. You can do some things by your own because we have trained you for a full season. Yeah, so a minimum would cost you about 2.3.
Okay.
Yeah.
What could be the requirements of making or setting up a greenhouse?
We usually set them up using locally available materials. Just get timber, nails. The only thing you need to buy is maybe the obstinate and the polythene up.
What is the obstinate?
Obstinate is just a net.
Okay.
Yeah, a net that you put in the sides so that when the temperatures are high, wind can blow in or outside.
Okay.
Yeah, we put it in the side so that we don't have very high temperatures for our crops inside there.
Okay.
Yes, then you need the polythene, I call it polythene. Yeah, the one which will shield rain from coming in, also it regulates on the sunshine. There are different gauges, but we give you the best. Yeah.
I hope all that we have it here, and then you'll show us that we have this, we have that. Do you think someone can learn setting up a greenhouse from the program, or you need to go to that person individually, physically, to teach them?
They can learn, but, as it is already said, practical is better.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is better you learn on TV, but still we come and set up for you, and you learn it firsthand.
Okay.
Yes.
I believe there are advantages and disadvantages of something. Whichever thing you do in life, it has an advantage and a disadvantage. What could be the disadvantages and the advantages of a greenhouse?
Okay, I start with disadvantages.
Okay.
Now, the first one is, of course, it can easily be disturbed by the weather. Sometimes we have horrible hailstorms. They can easily tear off the polythene which is up, or they could even throw the whole structure down. Yeah, but because we construct it using locally available materials, that means we can go to the hardware and just replace. Then the other thing, water. They need a lot of water. Remember, these are very, very, very high, temperatures. So if you don't have water, you could lose a lot. And then the other thing is probably people who play around and maybe a kid is playing and he tears the cavera. Yeah, those are some of the disadvantages. The advantages are so many. The first thing is you have your own key. So nobody is going to harvest without your knowledge.
Hey, we put a door also.
Yes, you put a door and a padlock and you stay with your key.
Okay.
That is the first thing. The other thing, animals won't just go in. In an urban setting, you have a cat, you have a dog, and if you just put things anyhow, they will destroy them.
Yes.
So if they are in a greenhouse, then animals won't disturb you. Then in a greenhouse, they grow vertically. They grow upwards. So you use a lot of plants, but in a small space. Then the other thing of whatever you're growing, it is you who controls everything. Literally, that is the best advantage it can give you.
Okay.
Yeah.
You say that I have the control, I have the key. A thief cannot easily come in. But you said you use polythene. Can someone just cut the polythene and enter? Or is there a way you protect it inside that even if they cut the polythene, they'll not get in?
Now with thieves, usually thieves, you have to pray to God at first. But the most important thing, what we do is that you make sure that you're vigilant. This is polythene, and if someone has maybe a big sort of machine, he can cut through. But think about if you didn't have a greenhouse, he'd just come and pick and goes anyhow. But if he's breaking into the greenhouse, it could take him quite longer than without it. So in that way, you can easily find him. Even the note is not so easy to be cut.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a little bit tougher.
About fire. Maybe a kid played around with fire or a matchbox. Couldn't it burn up?
Yeah, definitely. This is wood and polythene. If a kid brought, fire, he can easily burn it. Yeah, I think that's one of the disadvantages. But it is very rare. Yeah, it rarely happens.
We just have to keep them away and maybe warn them not to.
Yes, you need to warn your kids to place more safely so that they won't burn your investment. And yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. We've gone through that part, and I want us to drive to something else. My good viewers, want to say thank you so much for watching just the little beginning or a small beginning of the program today. This has been the first episode. Please let me have a short break, a commercial break, and then we'll get back with the next episode, and we'll be getting to the specific fruit or crop of today, and that is tomato farming in a greenhouse. Thank you so much. Keep it locked on Google TV.
Peace, thank you for such a wonderful program. So, my name is Kagombe Ronald from Muyenga. So, my question is about the greenhouse. Is it only tomatoes which can be grown in a greenhouse or also some other crops?
Okay, my good viewers at Google TV, again back on air with the program Hidden Treasure in Agriculture. Like I promised you in the first episode that we are going to start looking at the specific crop or fruit of today, that is the tomatoes. Like you can see, I'm already inside the greenhouse, and as you see around me there are tomatoes planted already. So I want us to go through the process. After you having a structure, or after you've called these people to set up for you a greenhouse structure at your place, how do you plant them and how do you take care of them, and which type of tomato is favorable for this kind of farming? Let's get to the expert, and then he will take us through. We'll come back from the break.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Okay, so like I told the viewers that we are going to look at tomatoes, and so we've come into the tomatoes now. You've told us about the greenhouse, explained to us what we use in constructing them. It's unfortunate that we cannot go with the process straight away from the beginning point of setting up the structure. We'll go through it, but I think maybe next time. So tell us about tomatoes. Do we just, actually what I'll ask first is, what type of tomato is the best for this kind of farming?
Yes. Of course, tomatoes have very many varieties, but usually when we are setting up, we give you the ones which are much more easier to handle and which are cheaper. So that in case you make a mistake in the beginning, it is not so expensive for you. So we put the tangeros, we could give you maybe sununu, which they are known to be field tomatoes, but we give them to you because they're a little bit cheaper. So in case you make mistakes, it is not very expensive. But once you learn, you can go for these other high values. We have acidas, we have Jara F1. There are so many, yeah, which are high value, but the seed is expensive. So the best thing, start with the ones which are cheap. As you learn, you'll get the expensive one later.
Apart from you saying that you look at the cheaper variety of tomato, how about what like I want you to say it doesn't matter whether it's expensive or cheap, but tell that person that according to the to the conditions here inside, you'll need this type of tomato for you to get the best yields.
Yeah, I would recommend acida. People know it for fieldy kind of work, but we can also have it in a greenhouse. Yeah, for our conditions here, I would recommend the Acela type. Then we have Jara F1 from Holland Green Tech. It is also a good one. Yeah, so those two can do well if you really take good care of them. Yeah.
So now you have set up your greenhouse structure, and now what you're going to do, like today we are planting tomatoes. How do we start up the process?
Now, we start by putting them in a nursery bed. Get the seed, put it in a nursery bed for 1 month. Yeah, every day you have to take care of them.
How do you care for them?
Make sure they have enough water. When you're putting them in the soil or in the seed, make sure you put an antibiotic, a fungicide, and an insecticide. You mix the three.
Mix them in the soil?
You mix them in water, and then you can pour them into the soil. Now,
Before you plant.
yes, before you plant. Now, the soil, usually we use seedling crates. Seedling crates. Now, in seedling crates, we discourage the use of water.
Sorry. How do the seedling crates look like? You plant them. Do you have them here? Okay, we'll see them. As you explained.
Yeah. So now in the seedling crates, yeah, what we put there, we prefer you put either peat moss or cocoa peat.
What is that? Peat moss or cocoa peat? That could be something that someone out there may not understand.
Now, peat moss and cocoa peat, they are growing media. They are the substitute of soil in a seedling crate. Their advantage is that they can easily regulate the water. Now, if somebody just uses soil, it can either cake, it becomes solid like a stone very fast, or it could lose the water very fast, or it could easily make it so soggy and it is very wet. So the best thing for starters especially, we recommend you either use peat moss or cocoa peat.
Do we buy them or how do we get them? And
They are sold in these shops everywhere in the country, all those agro shops. So you can go and ask for peat moss or cocoa peat. They are always available.
after getting the peat moss or cocoa peat.
Usually, if it is cocoa peat, we prefer that you soak it a day before. In water containing a calcium containing chemical, so that you detoxicate, you remove the toxins out. Yeah. Then after you wash it the next day, then that is when you can put it in the seedling crates and put the seeds. You make sure you don't push them very further. Just half of the first inch of no, half of the first inch of your finger.
Okay.
Yes, is what you use to measure. Then
size
of the hole.
to put that
Yes,
seed.
the seed. Yeah, so you put one seed per hole because the germination percentage is high enough.
Yes.
It goes up to about 95. So you make sure you're not putting so many which grow in one hole.
Okay.
Yeah, so you put it there, and then after you can water and cover with a cavera, and then every day you have to be monitoring. Now, at about 3 days, they'll start peeping out.
days.
Yeah, immediately you see the first one that is peeping out, you just uncover. So you uncover and then you put them in a shade, you know. But that shade must be accessing sunshine, in the morning and in the evening, but not in the afternoon, at noon time. Yeah, because at noon time it is so hot, it will just scorch them and they die. But in the morning, they are still, that vitamin D that even people need, that sunlight is still good, and also in the evening.
So which could be the best place for locating that the nursery bed? Like you're saying, it's supposed to be in a place where it can access light in the morning and in the evening. Which could be the best place? Is it under a tree, or what? What could you say?
It needs for you to put it in an open place. But you make a shade that is 1 meter wide, and it can go for any length. Make sure it is in the north and south direction. Yeah, so that the sunshine which comes from the east can hit them in the morning. And then also in the west it can hit them in the evening. So you just make sure that the structure is long enough, but it can be able to receive that sunlight. So it is very dangerous for you to put under the shade. That means they won't receive sunlight at all, whether in the morning or in the evening. It is better an open place, but when it can easily receive that morning and evening sunlight. Yes.
So now, is that the process? We are done with the nursery bed.
Now, you wait for, after removing the 3 days, after removing the seeds, then you can always keep watering, and you also keep spraying. You remember we spray with a bactericide, fungicide, and insecticide. So after those 3 days, you make sure every week you must spray. Every day you must check whether the water is enough or it is too little. Now, after, when you're approaching the 3rd week, you have to start now regulating the shade. Yeah, you remove, for example, if it is about to the 25th day, you can remove the shade in the morning completely. Then when it comes to 11 a.m., you can put it back. Then the next day you can remove from the morning to about midday. Then you put it back. We want them.
Extending time.
Yes. We just want our young tomatoes to know that there's a lot of sunshine around. So they have to get used, but very strategically, so that you don't introduce them to hot sunshine immediately. Yes, we call that hardening off. So that is a very important step that most of our farmers need to know, so that you don't just open it up and they dry, or you don't just transplant them when they are not used. So that is a very important step prior to transplanting. So after the 4th week, then we can transplant. If you use the cocoa pit or pit moss, it is easy. You just have to pull each seedling, pluck it out. Then you can transplant it in already a pot which has soil in it.
So now we are done with the nursery bed and we are transplanting. So how does the pot look like, or the any that you use to plant? Because here I'm seeing polythene bags.
Yes. Now, usually we get pots, these polythene bags. We can call it a pot. We put soil to about this size. Yes. Then you can get a stick. You put in a hole. Then you bring in your seedling, which has that pit moss on it. Don't tamper with it.
With the roots, you just bring it the way it is.
Then you put it inside here and you cover. Then after that, you water and leave it here in the greenhouse for it to grow. Yes. After that, we wait for about 1 month.
After transplanting.
Yes. Then you need to mulch, because the greenhouse is very hot. They lose a lot of water. What you need to do is to make sure that you minimize the loss of water, so that you also economize on the irrigation. So what we have to make sure is that we mulch after one week or maybe a month when they are strong enough. So that we minimize on the water loss.
So we mulch using the husks.
The husks are good for that. Don't use very green things, because they start competing with our crops for the nutrients, or for the bacteria, for them to rot. They may instead get the nutrients from the plant itself, and then they kill it.
Meaning, because there are many husks, these are timber husks, and then there are also coffee husks. Can we use are the coffee husks okay?
The coffee husks, after they are well dried, if they are wet, they would scorch the plants. Scorching means they would have to suck the nutrients out of the soil.
Because they want to rot.
Yes, because they need to rot. But if they are dry enough, then they are okay. Yes.
Okay. Then take us through. You're still taking us. It's your turn. You have now planted, and it's a month, and now you've mulched. Okay, good viewers, I want to say thank you so much for watching the episode. We are still moving on with the greenhouse farming and specifically on tomatoes. So we have ended on the issue of we are done with transplanting, and it is 1 month old. We have mulched, and then in the next episode, keep it locked on Google Day TV, and to the next episode next Saturday we will be watching more of it because of time. We could not complete everything today, so keep it locked on Google Day TV. We love you so much. Thank you for watching the Hidden Treasures in Agriculture. Remember to get us on Facebook, Hidden Treasures in Agriculture, and YouTube, Nafuna Peace, Hidden Treasures in Agriculture. And then you can get our app of our TV station, that is Yo TV. You subscribe to it and then be watching us wherever you are, anytime you want. We love you so much. Greetings to everyone. Keep it locked on Google TV.